What's up, everybody? We've got another big episode of Daredevil Born Again to dive into here today, so let's take our weekly trip to Hell's Kitchen. We picked up with Matt checking in with the coroner following the death of his client and fellow vigilante, Hector Ayala. Hector's niece, Angela Del Toro, shows up while he's there, and big props to this young actress. She's a little ball of fire in this scene, and I do hope that, they allow her to grow into that role of Angela since they made her so young here in the show. This scene definitely felt like they're headed in that direction of having Angela take up the mantle after her uncle Hector, like she does in the comics. There's more questions here. I mean, she's an NYPD officer and an FBI agent before becoming White Tiger in the comics. So maybe they do have a plan to build at least some of that, maybe not all of it, but some of it. But I'm guessing we're gonna have to wait quite some time before Angela takes up that mantle like I've been speculating here. But anyway, we got a quick shot of Muse heading down to his lair in the New York subway system, but they're keeping him in their back pocket right now. We also saw Daniel Blake running his mouth about Mayor Fisk, and I've got a feeling that's going to cost him in the long run, even if it's coming, from a place of admiration. Then we jump back to Matt Murdock, who's still struggling to keep that devil down. He's up on the rooftop of his apartment building, just listening. In my opinion, he's listening for that situation that's dire enough for him to bring Daredevil back and not have a choice. But here, he is just listening to the NYPD cops being lazy and dirty in the show, not the actual NYPD, of course, and the rest of his city too. But there are some things he doesn't know about going on in his city, like his girlfriend being Wilson and Vanessa's therapist. These sessions alone could probably bring the Kingpin back out, and they had me totally convinced that he killed Loverboy Adam. But the bigger factor is, I think Heather's finally realized the darkness she let in with her new patients. Which, speaking of new clients, patients, same thing, whatever, it's the same thing to me. Matt's got a new one too. Leroy isn't happy about having a blind lawyer. In fact, he's very upset about it and he makes it known, but we're sitting in a world where this blind man in front of him sees better than any human walking the earth next to him. Oh, and he happens to be a pretty damn good lawyer too. But it was a busy day at the courthouse after all, as Matt runs into someone who I initially thought was from Latveria because it's Latvian Heritage Day in the show, and my mind just went straight to Latveria, the fictional country of Doctor Doom, not Latvia, the country that, actually exists. So I did have some Doom talk ready for you guys, but you're just gonna have to wait for that in another video. Alright, before I dive into the back half of the episode and that one scene that stands above all in the show so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and turn the notifications on so you don't miss any videos during the week. Thank you very much. Now let's go back to Hell's Kitchen. We've got one last thing to hit on from the courtroom, and it's Matt running into his pal, Officer Powell. He pushes the officer's buttons, trying to get that heartbeat to admit to taking out Hector, but it doesn't. However, I was not convinced. Powell screams dirty cop, and maybe it wasn't him directly that pulled the trigger, but I definitely think he'll be amongst those NYPD officers sporting Punisher's skull on their flak jackets later this season, which they'll of course be under the command of their beloved mayor, Wilson Fisk. He's still adjusting to his new position as he tries to run New York like he ran the Five Families. To me, that's Kingpin poking his head out, reminding Wilson that he's still in there, and as we learn, the Kingpin really never left. But neither was Daredevil, as the foes lie to each other and themselves about their darker halves. Leroy's case, and of course Hector's case, are reminding Matt why he's the devil of Hell's Kitchen, why it matters, who it matters to, and why it hurts so damn much when he's not doing it. The system that he tries to hold up, that he tries to protect, is nothing but a failure. Then, we saw Daniel Blake's big mouth catch up with him already here in the same episode. BB Urich must have known the two girls that he was out with because she drops that Mayor Garbage article right after Fisk has been sung to all day. We built this city, and but he is livid. That forces Kingpin out for a moment, but Fisk pulls him back in for now, at least a bit. However, once Daniel is by Kingpin's side and not Fisk's, I don't think he's safe, and I do think he's earned himself a seat next to the mob boss, even with that mistake, but the final part's just my speculation. Anyway, Matt makes his way to the scene of Hector's murder and in an epic scene uses his echolocation to find the bullet casing in the sewer. Maybe epic isn't the right word here, considering it was indeed Hector's resting spot, but the presentation of Matt's abilities continues to be incredible in this show, and where this scene leads, it is pretty epic. That bullet casing and its skull branding leads him to Frank Castle, and boy, oh boy, what a reunion for Frank and Matt. First off, I love that Matt just knows where to find Frank, and based on Frank attacking and his reaction, I do not think Frank knew that Red knew where he was. That was cool, but the dialogue and performances are what really hit hard. I've got no notes on it. I mean, I guess I did have one, it was just in my breakdown notes. I just wrote in all caps, yes, but it was just absolutely perfect. Everything from Frank bringing Foggy into the picture to him pushing all the right buttons to bring the devil out once again, essentially. And this is just my opinion. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. But to me, Frank Castle is the embodiment of everything Matt's felt the past year in this show, and more so recently with Hector, and also what he fears to become as a result. Frank wants him to become that though, and I've got a feeling that skull on the bullet is eating him alive during this scene. Kind of like Adam's disappearance is eating at Vanessa, even though she knows it was Wilson, she just doesn't know what her husband did. She's even having second guesses about her safety with Mr. Mayor, and it makes me wonder if those fan theories after episodes 1 and 2 were right. If you don't know about those, people were speculating that, just speculation, this is not, confirmed, a leak, anything like that, but speculating that she ordered the hit on Foggy with Bullseye, and I could see Fisk being pretty pissed about that for two reasons. One, he'd just be pissed that it wasn't him, and two, since it wasn't him, he'd be pissed that someone else, someone close to him, broke that truce he had with that man's best friend. So, maybe it's that, she is just a little nervous, she doesn't know everything about Fisk right now, but I think it's more so, maybe it's that she just has a reason to be scared of him now. Regardless, the episode closed as we checked in with 3 of our characters. Matthew Murdock is keeping his fighting skills up to date, and he's also got a new closet that is in a chest in his closet for his suits. From right to left in there, we saw his red one from this show, from Daredevil Born Again, the Shadowland one, which is a crazy story in the comics where he's the leader of the Hand and possessed. Then we got the gold one from She-Hulk and his first appearance in the comics, that ketchup and mustard. Then we got the red one from the Netflix show, and I could be wrong on this one, but I feel like it's darker than that first one, and it's got different lining, which does seem to line up with the Netflix one, where the other one lines up with this new one. And then finally, we've got the silver one on the end, and I believe, again, not 100% confident on this one, but I believe it is supposed to resemble his back and white suit, which that's another one where he's reborn a priest and saves his friends from the 7 deadly sins with Doctor Strange. It's pretty much these helmets, they bring a lot with them. But there's still the other 2 we gotta talk about. The first being Mr. Mayor. He actually didn't kill Adam, Vanessa's lover boy. Color me surprised on that one. He's just got him caged in the basement that he keeps that painting in. The white one that he got his blood splattered on in his fight with Matt at the end of season 3, and I still think he's definitely killing that guy. Just like Muse, who does not wait to do his killing, as we see him draining a body to carry us into our big 2-episode night next week. We'll worry about that big crazy night next Tuesday though. As far as this episode was concerned, it was indeed another great episode for the show. Honestly, Born Again is indeed 4 for 4 in my books, as Frank Castle's return was pure insanity, with John Bernthal coming back into this role like he never left it. It could have been just their scene in this episode, that it was like 5-minute scene or however long it was, and I would have been satisfied. I would have been a happy camper, like I just watched an hour-long episode of nothing but that. They were simply that good. But that's going to do it for my breakdown of episode 4 from Born Again. Outside of Punisher, our new characters are catching up with the other ones from the Netflix show, especially Gandolfini's Daniel Blake. He's really growing on me, and it does feel like we're truly into the shitstorm that is Hell's Kitchen after this week's episode. But drop your thoughts on episode 4 down in the comments below, smash that like button, and make sure you have a great day.